Hi, it's Tave, and welcome back to the Dizzy Diaries, where we make complex physiology understandable and recovery feel a little less lonely. Today's question is one I hear constantly. Why do I feel worse after a good day? You wake up with energy, you move more, you socialize, you tick things off, and you feel almost normal. And then the next day, crash. Fatigue, dizziness, pain, brain fog, and a flare. It feels unfair, so let's talk about why this happens, and then I'll introduce you to something called analeptic exercise, which can be done as a way to reduce this boom and bust cycle. As someone with a chronic illness, and I'm sure you'll resonate with this, we fall into what I call the good day trap. When you live with a chronic illness, especially dysautonomia, long COVID, POTS, autoimmune disease, energy is inconsistent. So when a good day appears, it feels like a gift. And naturally, you try to use it. And you feel like if I don't use it, I'm going to be missing out. But here's the physiology. The nervous system has likely been operating in a fragile state of regulation. It can manage a certain amount of demand, and when you exceed that demand threshold, even if you feel fine in the moment, your system may respond later. This delayed worsening is often linked to autonomic dysregulation, post-exertional symptoms or symptom exacerbation, inflammatory rebound, and neuroimmune sensitivity. Your body may borrow energy from tomorrow, and tomorrow collects. So why is this effect delayed? The reason you don't always crash immediately is because stress hormones can temporarily mask fatigue. Adrenaline and cortisol increase heart rate, improve focus, and reduce pain perception, so you feel capable. But once those levels drop, the underlying metabolic and inflammatory cost becomes more obvious. It's not weakness, it's physiology catching up. So I had a conversation with a friend the other day, and we spoke a little bit about analeptic exercise. So we're going to touch on that today because it is something that I've seen with one of my long COVID patients that was really helpful, but it might not be specific to you or your chronic condition. So analeptic exercise refers to something restorative or stimulating in a controlled way. In exercise physiology, we use it to describe very short, carefully dosed bouts of activity designed to gently stimulate the nervous system, the cardiovascular system, without overwhelming them. Think about it as 30 seconds to 2 minutes of controlled movement, followed by full recovery. Often this might be 3 or 4 times the actual duration bout. So if you did it for 30 seconds, you might rest for a minute and a half up to 4 or 5 minutes. This can be repeated strategically throughout the day and doesn't then have to fit into a 1 hour specific exercise slot. Instead of a 20-minute session, you might do 1 minute of seated cycling, rest, 1 minute of resistance band work, rest, and 1 minute of mobility. It breaks the exercise into bite-sized neurological exposures. When we look at the science behind it, and when it's done appropriately, it can improve vascular tone gradually. It enhances mitochondrial efficiency, so the powerhouses of your cells in your body. It can stimulate this neuroplastic adaptation that we've spoken about, and it can improve your baroreflex sensitivity and increase your confidence in the movement without feeling like you're going to crash every single time you exercise. The key is sub-symptom threshold exposure, so you're working just before your symptoms start, and this for you might be 10 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute, and we gradually increase it as long as your body adapts and responds appropriately. We're not pushing into flare territory, we're nudging the system. It's especially useful in patients who experience post-exertional symptoms and struggle with any kind of symptoms after exercise. I've used this with a patient who struggled or was diagnosed with long COVID, and she didn't respond initially very well to traditional exercise. So even 10 minutes would be too much for her. She wanted to get back to her quality of life, her functionality, moving around with her family, and doing basic tasks. So something she would use is this kind of analeptic exercise. She could do 45 seconds of an exercise followed by a couple of minutes of rest and disperse that throughout her day before slowly building up a tolerance and going into normal exercise. The total activity time might be under 4 minutes, but you gradually build this up over weeks, not days, and we gradually increase that exposure. Her crashes reduced, her confidence improved, and her baseline slowly rose. Now, this is important. It doesn't mean it's the right exercise for everyone. It's just a form of exercise that can be used when you have very low energy, struggle with fatigue, and struggle with post-exertional crashes. Some individuals with significant post-exertional malaise may require even more conservative strategies. Some require medical stabilization first, and just remember, it's a tool, not a universal solution. So keep it individualized. Think about speaking to your doctor if you want to try but you're not sure, or speaking to a physiotherapist or exercise physiologist to discuss how it fits in with your lifestyle. It's usually a safe form of exercise, and I would say you can try it in very small doses, see how you feel, track this trend over time, and do some more research online if you're looking for short ways of doing it, exercise examples, and just kind of fun variations to include it in your day to day. If you feel worse after a good day, it doesn't mean that you imagined your progress. It means your system exceeded its adaptive window. Healing is about widening that window very gradually, not smashing through it. Small exposures, full recovery, and then repeat. Sometimes strength is built in seconds, not sessions. If this episode helped you understand your crash patterns a little bit better, share it with someone navigating the same cycle. Stay measured, stay informed, and let your progress be sustainable. I'll see you in the next one.